Hey there, this is Perch. So we just had a free comic book day, and technically I'm cheating. I'm actually recording this before Free Comics Day, but I'm making it seem like it's after Free Comics Day because I know this is going to be delivered after Free Comics Day. So you see what I've done? I've now revealed the trick, so it's no longer a good trick. But um, Free Comic Books Day is, I think, again, it's an uncontroversial topic, but it's one that every now and then pops up and people want to complain about it. Free Comics Book Day is marketing. Fundamentally, that's what it is. It's marketing. It's where the publisher is going to put out a lower price slash free version. Free Comic Book Day is not free to retailers. I think there's this huge misunderstanding that's cropped up on the internet sometimes. Like, I went into my retailer and they said limit four. Why? They're getting the comics for free. Well, because we're not getting the comics for free. We still have to pay for them. It's like buying flyers or marketing or brochures or business cards. We are getting a very cheap Free Comics Day comic, but it's not free. We're still paying something. And those are all sunk cost comics. So we're paying something and then we are giving them away for free. So these are all, every single time you go to a comic shop, it's Free Comic Book Day, you see those comics there. You need to remember in your mind, somebody paid for these, the retailer, and you are getting them for nothing. Now, the publisher is also printing them at a discount. It's an interesting comment, though. I mean, so the publisher is losing money in theory too, because the cost of printing and distributing and everything is more than the money charged to the retailers. But there's been a lot of debate over the years of is it really cheaper? And I've had enough seeds of doubt placed in my mind that I don't answer that question so quickly. But at any rate, let's just assume the publisher is paying something. The retailer is basically paying the bulk of the cost, if things are true. And then the customers come in, they get a free comic. And it's all about marketing. It's trying to hook people on comics so they will come in and buy more comics. Now, the curious part of Free Comics Day is that the publishers used to do, I would say, a more effective job of, the Free Comic Book Day comic is intended to be advertising. It's intended to be the gateway drug, if you will, of getting somebody to get a comic for free, and then they are going to ultimately start buying the comic all the time and subscribe, and then you're going to make money off of it. So the intent of Free Comic Book Day comic was to incentivize you to come back and buy another comic. And that's been hit or miss over the years, and lately it seems like it's more miss, because the comic that is included for Free Comics Day does a poor job of setting up a customer that's going to come in and buy more. And there's a bunch of little tricks you could do in Free Comic Day. You could kind of promote, ask your retailer about the pull box. You could do little things like that. Several retailers will actually insert, make print up little flyers or other things, which again is more cost, but to go with the comics to say, here's our pull box system. Did you like this issue of Free Comic Book Day with Captain America? Great. Come back and get some more. Here's how you get. Instantly you can subscribe to Captain America just with one little checkbox and put your name and address here, and there you go. You're now signed up. And I think the publishers could do more in that regard for Free Comic Book Day. A lot of the indies are putting out what they're hoping are good looks at their titles. They're under a bit of a the big publishers use Free Comics Day as a way to promote big events or characters that you already know. Indies are using Free Comic Book Day to just try and raise awareness that didn't exist before about their titles and their things. So for the indies, it's a little bit more important to have a really attractive, catchy cover, something that's going to kind of wire into the mind of the buyer that this is something to come back and get again. So that's that. But in effect, there's a lot of talking for me to say one simple thing. Free Comic Day is marketing. That's what that is. That's the point of it. It's an event to get comics fans into the stores in the hopes that they will come back to the stores. And as much as possible, they try and promote the Free Comics Day to the local news or papers or other places so that people who had no idea that a comic book store even existed in this location would still show up for Free Comic Day. It's a way for stores to try and promote themselves. It's not a bad thing. There's a lot of ways it could be much better. And I think publishers could do a lot more to really kind of emphasize the comic shop. But in fairness, I think over the last few years, I think the publishers have been kind of a mixed mind of how much they want to promote the comic shop. They have, they've got a trade story, they've got a digital story, they've got other things they want to pursue. So, is it the publisher's responsibility to market and promote retail locations that they don't own? Um, Disney, in very classic ways, if they don't get a really direct piece of the action, they're very reluctant to spend marketing dollar on promoting it. And that's their company strategy. Now, granted, when a comic shop, I mean, they are directly giving Disney money by ordering their books, but Disney doesn't like things outside of their control. They like to be able to manage how the promotion, how the spend, and how this business is going to operate. And with comic shops, it's a bit out of their control. At least, which is true of all the things they license and produce, but comic shops are a little bit more single purpose for comics. It's not like Walmart that sells all kinds of things and you're licensing products into there. Comic shops are for comics and you know Funko toys. But that's kind of the I think the conflict that a lot of the publishers have with Free Comic Book Day and marketing in general. But anyway, that's what it is. If you haven't been to a Free Comic Book Day, hey, what are you waiting for? You should go. Hopefully, you went this year and you got yourself some nice books. And did you find any horror stories? Sometimes shops will put like half the Free Comic Book Day comics out, and then they'll save some back for particularly for when they're kind of issue zero for events. And then like a week later, they'll drag them out in a bag at full $4.99 pricing. They're like, oh, we sold out a Free Comic Book Day, but we got some others in, and you wanted this kind of important tie into an event. Well, here you go. That's I think that's a bit of a that's not a totally ethical practice. That's kind of abusing. But at the end of the day, the comic shop is paying for this stuff. If they want to mark it up, they can do what they want. Just like customers can say, I don't like this practice and go shop somewhere else. But there's been an increasing amount of that of late, and that's kind of a shame. I think that's another reason why the publishers, it appears to me like they are starting to scale back a little bit on having the big wow moments in the Free Comic Book Day. They're not trying to, they're trying to create a teaser, not a collector edition. But anyway, that's what you have. Hey, give me some comments, ask me some questions, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, follow me on social media, Comic Perch over on